My ex mocked me for being a single dad, then my billionaire boss pulled me close and shattered her ego. The whispers followed me across the crowded charity gala as I juggled a plate of hors d'oeuvres and checked my phone for the 15th time. My babysitter had promised to text if my 5-year-old daughter's fever returned. I was so distracted that I didn't notice my ex-wife approaching until her familiar perfume, expensive and cloying, made me look up. The smirk on her face told me everything before she even opened her mouth. Still can't afford a proper suit, Jake? And checking your phone every 2 seconds? This is why you'll never move up in that company. No one takes a desperate single dad seriously. If you've ever felt belittled by someone who was supposed to love you, or struggled to balance parenthood with career ambitions, this story might resonate with you. Stay with me until the end to discover how one unexpected moment changed everything. If you enjoy stories about redemption and second chances, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more content that reminds us all that our worth isn't determined by others' opinions. My journey to that fateful charity gala began 3 years earlier, when my wife Vanessa announced she was leaving. We'd been married for 7 years, and our daughter Lily was just 2 years old. I never signed up to be tied down like this, Vanessa said, packing her designer clothes into expensive luggage. I'm still young. I want to travel, build my career. I can't do that with a toddler hanging on me. I stood in our bedroom doorway, stunned into silence. What about Lily? Vanessa barely looked up. You've always been better with her anyway. You take her. Just like that, I became a single father. The divorce was quick. Vanessa was eager to start her new life. She agreed to minimal child support, which often came late, and visited Lily only when it was convenient for her schedule. I worked as a mid-level marketing executive at Horizon Innovations, a growing tech company. My boss, Alexander Reed, had built the company from nothing into a billion-dollar enterprise. He was notoriously private, brilliant, and intimidating. Most employees only glimpsed him during quarterly meetings or company events. The first year after Vanessa left was the hardest. I'd wake at 5 a.m. to prepare Lily's meals for the day, drop her at daycare by 7, work until 5, then rush to pick her up. Evenings were filled with dinner, bath time, bedtime stories, and then several more hours of work after she fell asleep. I survived on coffee and determination. My performance at work suffered. I missed deadlines, dozed off during meetings, and turned down networking opportunities that could have advanced my career. My colleagues were sympathetic but distant. Single fatherhood was viewed as admirable but inconvenient in our competitive industry. Jake, we need to talk about your performance, my direct supervisor said during my annual review. You have potential, but your personal situation is affecting your work. Maybe consider whether this role is compatible with your circumstances. I left that meeting knowing my job was in jeopardy. That night, after tucking Lily in, I sat at my kitchen table surrounded by bills and calendar reminders for her doctor appointments. I couldn't lose this job. We needed the health insurance, the stability. I resolved to work harder, sleep less, somehow make it all fit. The next morning, I received an unexpected email from Alexander Reed's assistant. The CEO wanted to meet with me personally. My stomach dropped. Was I being fired by the big boss himself? When I entered his spacious office on the top floor, Alexander Reed wasn't what I expected. In his early 40s, he had an intensity about him, but his eyes were kind. Jake, please sit down, he said, gesturing to the chair across from him. I've been reviewing some of your marketing proposals from last year. Before your situation changed. I nodded, bracing myself. They were exceptional. Creative, strategic, forward-thinking. I'd like to see more of that work. Sir, I'm trying. It's just been difficult balancing everything. Alexander leaned forward. I know about your daughter. And that you're raising her alone. I was surprised he knew this detail about a mid-level employee. My sister was a single parent, he continued. I watched her struggle. She was brilliant, but the system wasn't built for people like her. Or you. He stood and walked to the window. I'm assigning you to lead our new product launch. It's a significant promotion. Sir, I'm grateful, but I don't know if I can manage the hours. We're also implementing a new flexible work program. You'll be its first participant. Core hours in office, but freedom to work remotely when needed. Full benefits, including emergency childcare services. I was speechless. I don't need employees burning themselves out trying to conform to outdated work models, Alexander said. I need your brain, your creativity. If that means adjusting how and where you work, so be it. That meeting changed everything. The flexible schedule allowed me to be present for Lily while still excelling at work. The emergency childcare service saved me countless times when Lily was sick or her regular sitter cancelled. My work improved dramatically, and I began to rebuild my confidence. Over the next 2 years, Alexander became more than just my boss. He became a mentor. He'd lost his parents young and built his company from nothing. He understood struggle in a way most billionaires didn't. Though intensely private about his personal life, he occasionally shared wisdom that went beyond business. Success isn't just about what you achieve, he told me once. It's about who you become in the process, and who you help along the way. Under his guidance, I led several successful campaigns. The flexible work program expanded to other employees, particularly parents. I was no longer just surviving, Lily and I were thriving. Which brings me back to that charity gala, where Vanessa stood before me in her designer dress, criticizing my appearance and parenting. Still driving that old Honda too, she continued, glancing around to ensure others could hear. I always knew you'd end up like this. Playing the martyr single dad while your career stagnates. I felt the familiar tightness in my chest, the same feeling I'd had during our marriage whenever she'd belittled me. But before I could respond, a hand rested firmly on my shoulder. Jake, there you are, came Alexander's deep voice. I've been looking for you. The investors from Singapore are eager to hear more about the campaign strategy you developed. Vanessa's eyes widened as she recognized the billionaire CEO. Alexander extended his hand to her. I don't believe we've met. Alexander Reed. Vanessa Mitchell, she stammered, suddenly switching to her networking smile. I'm Jake's ex-wife. Just catching up on old times. Ah, Alexander said, his expression cooling slightly. Jake is one of our most valuable executives. His innovative approach to the Asian market expansion increased our revenue by 30% last quarter. Vanessa's smile faltered. In fact, Alexander continued, I've been meaning to discuss your relocation package with you, Jake. For the new Singapore office. As our new regional director, you'll need suitable accommodations for you and Lily. I tried to keep my face neutral, though this was the first I'd heard of any promotion or relocation. Regional director? Vanessa repeated, her voice higher than usual. Jake's work-life integration model has become a case study at Harvard Business School, Alexander said casually. Proving that being an involved parent and a business leader aren't mutually exclusive. Quite the opposite, in fact. He checked his watch. We should join the others. The foundation is presenting you with the Innovation Award in 20 minutes. As Alexander guided me away, I caught Vanessa's stunned expression. For the first time since our divorce, she looked at me with something resembling respect, or perhaps regret. Once we were out of earshot, I turned to Alexander. Singapore office? Regional director? He smiled slightly. The position exists. The offer is real, if you want it. Though I understand if relocating isn't best for Lily. And the Harvard case study? Being finalized next month. Your flexible work model has outperformed traditional approaches by every metric. You've changed how this company operates, Jake. I was overwhelmed. Why didn't you tell me any of this before? Alexander's expression softened. You earned every bit of it. Nothing I said was exaggerated or untrue. But I thought perhaps tonight, you might need to hear it all at once. I realized then that he had observed my interaction with Vanessa and understood exactly what was happening. He'd stepped in not just as my boss, but as someone who cared. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. I did indeed receive an innovation award for the marketing campaign I'd developed. Several investors requested meetings with me specifically. And throughout it all, I noticed Vanessa watching from a distance, her expression unreadable. As the event wound down, she approached me again, this time without the condescending smirk. Congratulations on the award, she said stiffly. And the promotion. Thank you. Lily must be doing well. I showed her a recent photo on my phone, Lily grinning widely, missing her 2 front teeth, holding up a science fair certificate. She won first place, I said. Built a solar system model by herself. Vanessa stared at the photo longer than necessary. She has your smile. She asks about you sometimes, I said, not to hurt her but because it was true. Something flickered across Vanessa's face, regret, perhaps. I've been thinking about visiting more regularly. If that's okay. She'd like that. An awkward silence fell between us. You've done well, Jake, she finally said. Better than I expected. It wasn't quite an apology, but from Vanessa, it was significant. It hasn't been easy, I admitted. But we're happy. As she walked away, I felt a weight lift that I hadn't realized I'd been carrying, the need for her approval or recognition. I no longer needed it. Later that night, after checking on a sleeping Lily, I sat on my balcony reflecting on how much had changed. My phone buzzed with a text from Alexander, the Singapore offer is real, but there's also an option to lead the initiative from here. Your choice. Either way, the position is yours. I smiled, thinking about how a single act of understanding from one person had altered my entire trajectory. Alexander had seen value in me when others, including myself, had doubted. He'd created a system where I could succeed as both a father and an executive. The next morning, Lily climbed into my bed at dawn, clutching her favorite stuffed dinosaur. Daddy, can we have pancakes? She asked, her missing teeth making her lisp slightly. Absolutely, princess. As we mixed batter in the kitchen, Lily chattering about her school project, I thought about Alexander's offer. Singapore would be an adventure, but our life here was good too. What mattered was that for the first time in years, I had real choices. Daddy, you're making the pancakes too big. Lily giggled. I looked down at the enormous pancake spreading across the pan and laughed. You're right. This one's definitely a monster pancake. I like monster pancakes, she declared, standing on her tiptoes to watch it cook. In that simple moment, making breakfast with my daughter on a Saturday morning, I felt a contentment that no career achievement could match. Yet I was grateful that I didn't have to choose between this joy and professional fulfillment. Thanks to one person who understood that changing workplace culture wasn't just about policies, it was about seeing the whole person. 2 weeks later, I declined the Singapore position but accepted the directorship based in our current city. Alexander wasn't surprised. Family first, he said simply during our meeting. The company benefits either way. As I left his office, he added, by the way, the company is opening a childcare center on the 4th floor next month. The board approved it yesterday. I stopped. That's a big investment. It's good business, he replied. We lose too much talent to outdated work models. Besides, I hear the director's daughter might be the first enrollee. I smiled. She might be. That evening, as Lily and I walked through the park near our apartment, she spotted an ice cream vendor and looked up at me hopefully. Can we get ice cream, Daddy? Please. Sure, sweetheart. As we sat on a bench enjoying our treats, Lily's face smeared with chocolate, I thought about how far we'd come. From those desperate early days of single parenthood to now, both of us thriving in our own ways. "Daddy, are you happy?" Lily asked suddenly, with the directness only children possess. I pulled her close, her small body warm against mine. "Very happy, Lilybug. Are you?" She nodded emphatically. "We're a good team." "The best team," I agreed. Over her head, I watched other families in the park, mothers, fathers, children, all configurations of love and connection. Each with their own struggles and joys. I thought about how one person's belief in me had rippled outward, changing not just my life but potentially many others through the workplace policies Alexander and I had implemented together. Vanessa had been wrong. Being a single parent hadn't limited me, it had revealed strengths I never knew I possessed. And Alexander had seen that before I did. Sometimes the people who are meant to love us fail to see our worth, while strangers recognize it immediately. The trick is learning to see it in yourself, regardless of who else does or doesn't. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the grass, Lily finished her ice cream and looked up at me with serious eyes. "Can we go home and read 3 stories tonight instead of 2? I laughed. "Nice negotiation tactic. How about 2 stories and 1 song?" She considered this, then nodded solemnly. "Deal." Hand in hand, we walked home in the fading light, a father and daughter against the world, but no longer alone in our journey. If this story touched you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Remember that your worth isn't determined by those who leave, but often revealed by those who choose to stay and see the best in you. Sometimes the family we need isn't the one we're born into or even the one we first create, it's the one we build day by day through love, persistence, and the courage to keep going when everything seems impossible.